made a video in forever, so if I'm awkward, it's been a while, and you know what? I got no views. It bummed me out, and I didn't want to ever make a YouTube video ever again, but thank God I have good friends who said that I could do it even if I get no views. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be doing my makeup, but while I do my makeup, I'm going to be telling you guys the birth story of when I gave birth to my twins and my labor and all that. Let's just jump into it because I'm nervous. Oh, fuck. Okay. So I'm starting with the Ordinary Primer because it's $4.90 from Sephora, and it works like a fucking gem. So everyone should spend the $4.90 and get it. Okay, so I guess my birth story kind of starts on May 13th, 2020, which is my sister's birthday. We planned to do, because it was the beginning of COVID, we planned to do like painting pottery, but over a Zoom call. And I woke up that morning. Next is eye primer. I don't really know if this is popular, but I like it and it makes it not crease my eyes. Also, I don't know anything about makeup, so don't come for me. Okay, so it was my sister's birthday. We planned to do like a pottery thing where we paint pottery over Zoom, so we didn't see each other because it was COVID time. And I woke up that morning and I was cramping, kind of just like period cramps, TMI, but whatever. And I was like, it's fine, like it's probably just Braxton Hicks. If you guys don't know what that is, it's just like your body giving like mini contractions to get your body ready for the big ones. And so I was like, whatever, it's no big deal. I didn't really think it was labor or anything. Like, I had a doctor's appointment maybe 3 days before and I wasn't dilated at all. So I was like, okay, well, just Braxton Hicks. And then this is how I clean out my brushes because I'm lazy. I had a doctor's appointment, wasn't dilated at all. So I was like, oh, it just has to be Braxton Hicks. So I went ahead. I'm gonna do the 35T Morphe palette. It's called Sweetest Tea, and I just got it and I'm really liking it. And then just a Sephora blending brush, and then this blending brush that I don't know where I got it from. Okay, anyways, so then we started painting the pottery, and so I kept going into the other room to get water because I like couldn't handle the pain. Of course, I was a wuss, and it kept going. And as we were painting the pottery, it was getting worse and worse, and my mom was like, okay, I think you should go make sure that you have everything that you have and like put your dirty laundry aside because I'm gonna do it when you leave, because at the time my husband and I were living with them to save up a little bit of money before the kids came, so that we could afford to like move out on our own and get all the good things that two babies would need. But I got my dirty laundry together so she could do it when we were gone, so we could come home to a clean house. And then I got my bags together, and by then I was like I was hunched over, couldn't take it anymore. I was like, Dustin, which is my husband's name, I said we have to go like now because it does not feel like these are just Braxton Hicks anymore. So we got our bags, we went to the hospital. Dustin, of course, was not allowed in because of COVID, which is fucking ridiculous. Apparently, as long as you're not like in active labor, your husband wasn't allowed in the beginning of COVID. So Dustin waited outside, and then the doctor checked me and everything, and he was like, oh my god, why didn't you come in sooner? You're 4 centimeters dilated, like we're gonna have to admit you. Your babies are probably gonna come by tonight. So we thought, what a jokester that doctor was. So I called Dustin, I said, these babies are fucking coming, get in the car, like let's go. So we got admitted, and then a few hours go by, and I was like, this is so weird, because like he said, my babies were coming tonight, and I was like, it's just weird, like every other birth story I heard, when they're 4 centimeters dilated, all of a sudden they're 10 and they're rushing in. So it was like a good like 3 to 5 hours, I would say, of me waiting and not dilating at all. Finally, the doctor came and checked me again, and I was telling her how much pain I was in, and I was 6 centimeters dilated, and they're like, okay, this is it. We're gonna give birth. And I was like, okay, this is it. So they came in and they gave me my first epidural. Now you'll realize in this story that I got 3 epidurals and my labor. So they gave me my first epidural, and then pain medication on top of that because I'm a little wuss. You know what? I was about to push out 2 humans out of my vagine, so whatever, come for me or don't, I don't fucking care. But anyways, so they gave me the first epidural. They were like, we're just gonna let your body naturally do it because the longer that the twins stay in there, the better. Now, if we go back to when I was 26 weeks, I ended up in the hospital for what they thought was preterm labor. And I was in the hospital for 4 days by myself. Again, Dustin wasn't allowed in. And then they ended up sending me home and put me on bed rest and said that the babies were going to be able to stay in there for a little longer. So then this is 34 weeks that I come back in. And so I'm at 6 centimeters dilated. They put the epidural in. We think that the babies are coming. Okay, well, let's fast forward maybe another 14 hours, I would say. Like, it was definitely, like, the end of the night, like, the next day. So I was like, this makes no sense. Like, I'm at 6 centimeters dilated. I never thought that you could sit at 6 centimeters dilated for as long as I fucking did. It was so bad. And this whole time, Dustin was allowed with me. But because I was at only 34 weeks pregnant, they knew that the twins were going to have to go into the NICU. They came into the room and they said that their NICU at this hospital wasn't going to have any room for the twins. So they were asking if I'd be okay if we switched hospitals. And I was like, okay, well, I've been, like, dilated for 14 or more hours at 6 centimeters. Like, there's no way that the time that I get in the ambulance, go to the other hospital, I'm gonna dilate more. It's the Matte and Poreless Fit Me foundation. So then I was like, sure, we'll go, because we obviously wanted to make sure that they had room for our children in the NICU after we gave birth. So again, we went to the other hospital here in Ottawa, and by the time I got in the ambulance and went to the other hospital, which was only, I would say, like a 15-minute drive, I was saying, like, I can feel like something is, like, has changed. Like, you guys need to check me, something has changed. And the doctor in the beginning was like, oh no, they sent you here because you weren't dilating quick enough. Like, there's no way that from that hospital to this hospital you could have changed that much. Like, I'm not too worried about it. I'll get my nurse to come check you in a little while. Which I said, hell no, I can fucking feel a head coming out like you guys need. So then again, oh my god, I'm horrible at fucking telling stories. So before, like, when I switched hospitals, they didn't let Dustin in the room again because, again, I wasn't in active labor. They didn't count it as active labor. So again, they were like, go home, because she's been 6 centimeters dilated for so long. Like, we'll call you when she's actually, like, about to give birth to these babies. So Dustin got halfway home, and then I get them to check me, and I'm 8 centimeters dilated. So they're like, oh my god, like, this has never happened before, which is, like, such bullshit, but whatever. So then they're like, call your husband and get him to come. So I call him, and I'm like, you need to turn back around. He was home, and this hospital was, like, 30 minutes away from our house. Like, before we were closer, because we had to go to different hospitals, we were even farther, and he had just gotten home. And then I call him and I'm like, okay, babies are coming. Like, you need to come now. They're coming now. So then he gets in the car. He told me that he never, like, has skipped so many red lights. Like, thank God my husband is alive, because he went into a panic mode and acted like a buffoon. Anyway, so after they checked me, they had to take out my epidural at the other hospital because I couldn't, like, travel with the epidural in, they said, or it just wouldn't be good for me. So then they ended up taking the epidural out. So then when I got there and they realized I was 8 centimeters dilated, they told me, like, now's the time to get the second epidural. So then I'm like, okay, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like, someone will be here soon. Can we just wait until he gets here so he can hold my hand while I get the epidural? And, like, this was like, I went in on the Wednesday, and this was probably like the Friday night. And like the least that I could want in this labor after like sitting there in pain and thinking my babies were coming for 2 days, like the least you can do is let me wait to get the epidural until my husband gets here. So that's what they did. I have the Revlon concealer. And then he got there, they put the epidural in me, and then they were like, I don't understand why the other hospital was postponing like you giving birth. Let's just give you the medicine. I forget what it's called, but they gave me the medicine that like makes the labor progress, and they gave it to me, and it still wasn't working. I sat at 8 centimeters dilated for 6 hours, and then my epidural was like uncomfortable, so they said because my labor wasn't progressing from 8 centimeters again, that they could take the epidural out and then just give it to me whenever my body was actually ready to push or whatever, like right before pushing. So I got it taken out, and as soon as I got taken out, I would say probably, I would have to fact check, but from my knowledge, probably about an hour later, they broke my water, and then I was at 10 centimeters dilated, maybe 15 minutes after that. And then they came in and put the epidural back in my back for a third time. And then I thought, because nurses kept saying that, like, because if I pushed vaginally, that Dustin would be allowed in the room. So I thought because the baby's heart rate was fine and everything, that Dustin would be allowed in the room with me. Well, turns out that because I was having twins, and it's a high-risk pregnancy no matter what, because I was having twins, that I would have to be in like surgical room in case something happened. So Dustin wasn't allowed in the room with me. So then I start crying. I literally told them that I was just gonna go outside and give birth if Justin wasn't allowed in with me, and they were like, sorry, COVID protocol, blah, 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 blah. So eventually Dustin calmed me down. He convinced me that, you know what, babe, it's fine. We'll have another kid one day, and I'll be able to be in the room with you. So I calmed down, and we went into the room. And I was like, okay, well, I just need to FaceTime Dustin, like, from the room. Well, I didn't know this, but I was pushing, like, I started pushing maybe 5 minutes after I got in the room, and I was FaceTiming Dustin. And I didn't know this, but they had my phone facing the ceiling. And for some reason, like, it's not like the movies. Like, when I was pushing, I was pretty freaking quiet. And like, it hurt and everything, but I think I'm just the type of person that when I'm in pain, I'd rather say nothing because I'm just mad that I'm hurting. Like, it just pisses me off when I'm in pain. So I was pretty quiet, and the doctors were kind of just like, kept saying I was okay, and then they would say like, okay, you need to push because if not, the baby's heart rate's gonna drop. And think of that, and Dustin is facing the ceiling on my phone on FaceTime the whole time. So Dustin's freaking out. I can hear it in the corner of my ear as I'm freaking pushing for dear life. Like, is she okay? Is she okay? Like, all I see is the ceiling. I need to see my wife. Like, it was so upsetting. And they wouldn't answer him. And then one baby was out. I didn't push for very long. I think because I had such a long labor. And I was so tired that I think that in my brain, I was like, if I just push as hard as I fucking can, this will all be over with and I'll be able to go to sleep. Joke's on me. I didn't sleep for fucking 2 weeks the whole time my kids were in the NICU. But in my head, I was like, if I just get this over with, like, I'll be able to go to sleep. So I pushed pretty quick, and Dustin didn't see my labor or me pushing or anything until the first baby came out. And then I freaked out because my kid wasn't crying when she first came out, the first one, which the first person that came out was Ava Lynn. Her name is Ava Lynn Rose. And she didn't cry at first, but she would like look up at me, And I'm like, how are you looking up at me, but you're not crying and you're like alive and well? Anyways, so they automatically took the baby because she was a preterm baby. So they took her immediately to the NICU, and then they were like, okay, Skyler, you need to push the second one out like right now because her heart's gonna start dropping and then we're gonna have to do a C-section. And when she said that, when I heard C-section, I fucking geared up, put my legs up, and I would say like I pushed twice or maybe 3 times, and she flew out and her placenta flew out with her. And then the second baby was out and Dustin had seen nothing of it. And yeah, so I gave birth to them. They were both 4 pounds 2 ounces, which is insane to me that they were the exact same. Anne-Marie, Evelyn Rose was born at 3:30 a.m. May 16th, 2020. And Anne-Marie was born 3:35 a.m. May 16th, 2020. And after that, they brought the babies to the NICU, and I guess because we were young parents or something, they failed to mention that as soon as I was done giving birth, that I could go see my children. So they failed to mention that. So a nurse came in finally, probably an hour and a half after I gave birth, and she's like, hey, have you seen your kids yet? And I was like, no, I didn't know that I could. Like, I thought that they were getting checked on by the nurse. And they're like, no, they're doing fine. They're at the NICU. You can go see them at any time. So just again with the NICU, only one parent was allowed to go in at once, like at a time. Which, like, if anyone tells me that I didn't get robbed of this fucking labor, I'm gonna box ya, because it was so traumatic, so upsetting. This is the Rare Beauty blush in shade Encourage, and I'm obsessed, and it encouraged me to do this video. So then I finally went and saw the babies, just me, and I stayed with them for maybe 25 minutes until Dustin wanted to come and see them. Now, Ava was doing good right out of birth. She was on her feeding tube, of course, and her breathing tubes, but Anne ended up having to be in an incubator for the first few days. And although it was like the hardest thing ever leaving the hospital, and you're not leaving with the babies that you came in there with, like, they were literally on me for 8 months. And then after giving birth, I kind of just had to be like, okay, they're gonna take care of you, and I'm not. And I wasn't really, I should have, but I didn't prepare myself for that. So anyways, we went home. I would come visit them every day, literally every day, same time. Dustin had to work until they were home, and then he took 2 weeks off, but he had to work, so I'd be at the NICU every single day seeing them. And they came home, I think about 2.5 weeks later, but it's like a blessing in disguise, but also was the hardest time of my life because I got to heal better than a lot of other moms do. Like, I had the time to heal and not have to like be up with newborn babies, especially twins, like right away. I was able to heal. This is the Morphe Backseat Love lip liner. I'm obsessed with the whole kit, but anyways, yeah. So that's what happened with that. Now I'm gonna take the Clinique lipstick in shade Love Pop and the Morphe lipstick in shade Pop. Okay, I'm gonna finish my makeup and I'll be right back. Okay, that is the end of the story and my makeup's done. I mean, it was traumatic, but it was good. How many times am I gonna say that? Take a shot every time I tell you that it was traumatic. But anyways, let me know if you guys want to see like a day in the life now that the girls are almost 2 years old. If I do mention Karlee's name in this title, I swear it's not clickbait. Karlee Steele and I are, I would say, friends. I follow her Patreon. Leave a comment down below if you want a video. I was thinking of maybe doing a video called What's It Like to Be a Part of Karlee Steele's Patreon, because a lot of people kind of ask what days happen on what, and what you get for what you're paying, and the different tiers and stuff like that. And I feel like Karlee always has to say the same thing over and over again in her lives and stuff. So maybe I could just make a video of kind of like what's it like to be part of her Patreon and how she really is, because she's literally the sweetest person I've ever met in my life. Comment down below any other videos ideas you guys would have. Yeah, that's it. And subscribe, like, share, do all that fun stuff, or don't. I don't really care, but it would be nice. Anyways, thanks guys, have a good night.